Cred Magazine 25th anniversary podcast, Legends Only. We are now about to do an incredible show this episode. I have sitting with me a pioneer of jewelry and sound system. It's the one and only Winston Mexican. How you doing, man?
I'm doing okay, my friend.
It's good to see you, bro.
Yeah, man. Everything's blessed.
Listen, man, Winston Mexican. Whenever I just say the name, I just feel history. And I was thinking, is there enough time to talk about the success that you've had for so many years? But you know what, we're going to try and get us some good, poignant things in this conversation. Right, so wow, sound system. Let's start with sound system.
Okay.
How did that inspiration come to take charge and bring that to the forefront and make it be the legacy it is?
I mean, it depends how far you want to go back, really.
Let's go back.
Right, so if you go back to the beginning, we're talking when I was about 12, 13. And I started a sound that was called Surtsey, which anybody knows is a really high mountain. I think it's one of the highest mountains that's not normally mentioned. And I decided I wanted to have a musical venture in playing records, and I decided I'm going to be called Surtsey. And I started with just some, the gram, as we all know, right? It was actually a gram called the Rigonda at the time, a German-made gram. So I started with that, and then I met with a friend of mine called Julian, and we decided to put together a sound called Cyclone.
Right.
And we ventured out as Cyclone, and it became very popular. But I always had it in me because I was doing my own promotions as well then.
Yeah.
I mean, the first promotion I ever did was when I was in school at about 13. And I remember making the flyer myself and sticking it up on the notice board.
Wow.
And I kept a party in my friend's garage.
Wow.
That's how far back we go. When I was 13.
Yeah.
Right, and so I just had the feel for it from a very young age. And inspiring me growing up was Bob Marley.
Yeah.
So I used to listen to a lot of Bob Marley music, and that inspired me. And then coming up through the years, going to places like the Rainbow, listening to some of the great sound systems. My cousin had a sound called Jamasigan.
Right.
And I joined his sound, which in them days, you go in the back of the van, especially as a new member. So you were traveling up down the country in the back of a van and coming out and lifting speaker boxes. But I just loved the whole thing about it, you know?
That feeling, Winston, even though it was harder then, it still had a better feeling than today, in my opinion. I would explain that like you said.
I think it was just see what it is with music is, it's like for people who are West Indian orientated, music is a way of getting rid of stress come the weekend. So a lot of the music in those days used to be article music. They used to sing about positive things to take your mind off the strain and the burden of life and everything else. So you used to go out and you used to get relaxed from the music. And not only that, they used to have music that used to entice you to want to talk to women, and women talk to men, and have a good time and all of that. So all of that was the whole thing about going out then, right? So you had a different feel. And there was a lot more places to go to, as you know, the Shubeens, the Bluesies. I used to go there till like 6, 7, 8 o'clock in the morning, partying. Different vibe completely.
Music really talks to people, doesn't it? And
Absolutely.
And it definitely is. When people say music influences people, it really does. Like you just said, it influenced people to love and go out and have a good time. So it just shows that if we put positivity out there, people will follow it, man.
That's right, absolutely.
But fast forward, Love Injection, as internationally known, massive exposure on TV, and did you see? When you was doing it, when you started the sound, was there this vision that it would be where it is now?
Okay, well, what it was with Love Injection, well, just before Love Injection, I'd had so much history of sound systems.
Right.
so much history of promotions. I knew so much in the industry, right? So I knew what to do. I was already made, right? So I knew what to do. And so therefore what happened is my vision for Love Injection was pretty clear on what I had to do.
Right.
Equipment-wise and music-wise, I knew exactly what needed to happen. It was just making it happen.
Yeah.
So, when it started, we went through, the DJ phase, where you got the lyrics, everybody chatting lyrics. Then we went to the blues party stage.
Wow.
And then I was somebody from before Love Injection, I was always recording dub plates with artists.
Yeah.
Right? Mainly UK artists.
Okay.
So my love for voicing dub plates was already there, so I wanted to incorporate it into Love Injection.
Right.
So, but then I wanted to incorporate it on a bigger level. So I wanted the UK, but I also wanted to go across the world and voice artists from there and bring them in. And so when that started to happen around Love Injection, it just exploded.
Yeah.
Because people just could not, they just couldn't believe you were hearing artists like Dennis Brown, Bunny Wailer.
Wow.
On dub plates, it was like,
Wow.
what?
Dennis Brown, dub plate, Love Injection.
Dennis Brown, dub plate, Love Injection.
Winston Mexican has got Dennis Brown on a dub plate. Boy! Yo!
Right,
That's
so,
serious,
That's serious. And so, and the list goes on, John Holt. It goes on and on and on. And so what I did, I went to Jamaica initially and America and started to record all these artists. Bring the dub plates back to the UK, played in competitions, no one could compete because our equipment was second to none. The music was phenomenal.
Big up to yourself, man, and big up to you've given birth to an amazing sound system and created a legacy for us all to enjoy. Big up to yourself for your son, DJ Mexi, man.
Yes.
Listen, I'll tell you something. I'll tell you what I admire about you. I mean, you've done so many phenomenal things, Winston. But what I really admire about you is when your son does his events, you're there by his side.
Yeah.
I love that. I love going in there and I just stand there. Sometimes I'm just there just watching, man, thinking, that's amazing. Both of them just there. I can see you just there proud, with the card.
Of
saying,
course.
Oh, my son.
Of
That's
course.
How does it feel to see that though, man? I mean,
it feels great because obviously he's been around me a long time.
Yeah.
And the music something was something that I wasn't rushing for him to get into when he was young, but he just had it in him. It was something he just wanted to do.
Yeah.
His mom called me one day and goes, listen, Philip, if you don't know his name, he wants to do music. You need to get him some turntables. So we did that, and from there on end, he hasn't looked back.
Amazing. So,
needless to say, we have a Love Injection in Jamaica now, which is playing in Jamaica for mainly the younger kids, because you have to keep the thing.
Amazing.
And it's a lot of family members involved in that. So that's something for people to look out for, Love Injection in Jamaica, because it's there and it's very, very, very current.
Wow. Well, and I tell you something though. That's one thing I like. Let's talk about current. You really are current, and I've noticed that everything's about presentation and the way. When Winston Mexican's behind something, it's got a good sprinkle on it, man. You know what I mean? Let's talk about the jewelry side of things. That's what I'm saying. There's not enough time. There really isn't. The jewelry side of things. You've styled the city and styled many celebrities.
Yeah.
Tell us about the celebrities you've styled.
Well, in the earlier days, some of the artists that I used to record dub plates with, when they realised I was connected to jewellery, obviously you can see that it was going, listen man, get me a chain or get me a bracelet and I'll do these songs for you and stuff like that, Bounty Killer, Triller You,
wow.
To name a few, Movado, yes, we have said, we can't, how much, give me a chain for this, even down to
wow.
Vibes Cartel.
Wow.
Right, and many artists,
Yeah.
So it was like a trade-off, jewelry for music. And obviously, I've come into contact.
Sorry to laugh, but I just think that's just crazy. And this conversation is weird.
Yeah.
Try to here's some goal. Give me some lyrics.
Yeah. Absolutely.
I like
Absolutely.
it.
But as you know, with Jamaicans anyway.
Yeah.
You know, they're flashy.
Yeah,
You know?
man.
And me being connected to that was perfect for a lot of them, you know? So that worked. With the jewelry business as well, I mean, it's not been easy. It's been hard because I'm based in the city centre. So that in itself is a challenge.
Mm-hmm.
Right, and it's not the easiest of places to get to all the time, you know. But so it's been hard. It's been hard, but I'm somebody that never gives up. If I'm involved in something, I can guarantee you it's going to work.
How many years we talking in jewelry business, Winston?
In the jewelry business, about 34 years.
Jesus Christ! He said it's hard, and he's lasted this long. Listen, and you secured a massive concert with Coffee and the Chronics.
Well, the thing is, there's another side to me, which is promotions, which is Love One Love All promotion.
Back to putting up the flyer and you know the garage. From that flyer, you've showed who you were from there.
That's right. From the day in school, when I put it up when I was 13 on the wall and designed it myself, and fast forward into Chronics and Coffee at the arena, that's where that's come.
Mm-hmm.
Right. I mean, there's been a lot of ups and downs in promotion, as you know. You don't win them all, right? But I believe in what I'm doing, and when I do it, I believe it's going to work. Yeah. And if it doesn't, you just keep going, and that's what I've kept doing. So the Chronics and Coffee, there's so much to talk about with that. In why it might not have gone on, why it did go on, the ups and downs, what's involved. I mean, big up to Jamai, because Jamai was right beside me.
Absolutely, man.
Also Mexi and the Love Injection family. And
perfect team was behind that.
Yeah,
perfect team.
Everyone that participated, you know, all the radio stations all over the place, and you know, everybody that you know put in their energy to make it work, and it worked.
It worked. I like that. We've gone through so much struggle, man, and so much pain, but you know what? It worked.
It worked, you know.
Fantastic. I mean, that concert. You know, how important was it for you? I mean, to see someone from our city to hold an event like that. It's usually a corporate company that's behind those big concerts, but...
Well, you see, the thing with it is this, and I have to say this, because I'm born and bred in Birmingham, and I've seen a lot of things happen in Birmingham that has not been Birmingham orientated.
Right.
It's been done from people outside of Birmingham. And what I felt was that... you know, where Birmingham is concerned, we need to put our stamp on. We need to let people know, hey, we're here, you know.
Wow.
We can do this, you know. Wow. Don't just think that it's down to everyone else. Let me show you what we can do. And so, obviously, I wanted to do that. I wanted to show the whole of the country that Birmingham is here.
Wow.
And don't just overlook us. So that was my driving force. And within that, Chronics is one of my artists that I did the first show in Birmingham with. So I have a real strong connection with Chronics. Yeah. Coffee was up and coming, and I got through to Coffee, and I guess these two artists would be perfect together. And so I managed to get them together and said, this is a show that you can't miss. I mean, if you're really into shows, the two hottest thing on the table at that time is coming to Birmingham.
Yes.
And nowhere else.
Winston Mexican, as I said, he's the engineer, man. He puts things together that people want. He knows that people need the sound. He knows that everybody needs the jewelry, and he's giving it to you. Winston Mexican. Listen, legend of sound system and pioneer of jewelry. 30 years in the jewelry trade, and how many years in music trade?
In the music trade, in total, if you add up all my years, I've been in there like close on to 50 years.
There's no other Winston Mexican. This is Street Cred Magazine 25th anniversary, and an inspiration to many. Who do you know that has a sound system and a jewelry empire? Winston Mexican. Big up yourself, brother.
Yes, my brother.
Big up, man.
My life, I had to go. Help me.
Cred magazine celebrating 25 years as the #1 media platform from our city, and here we have a famous local, national and international pioneer of black comedy in theatre. This man for 29 years has been putting bombs on seats. 29 years with his own upfront comedy empire, and has been famous for many reasons, and we're going to go through that, okay, throughout the show. We have the legendary John Simmit. How you doing, man?
This is new Simmit. I'm legendary. My mom would be like, hey, you bring me soap? Yes, it's different levels, isn't it? And so on, but yes. I'm not really walking around thinking, I am a legend. I'm thinking, what's my shopping list? I've got to take that bag to get the zip fixed. This is my day. It's a Tuesday, so you know, it's not quite P. Diddy. You said that to P. Diddy. He believes that and lives on that. I'm like, how much time before I have to go get my bag fixed? But yes, most of that is true.
Yes. Wow. John Simmit, man. Wow. 29 years putting bombs on seats.
Mm-hmm. Approaching 30, exactly.
Approaching 30. So there's a big anniversary for this. I think that's coming. I want to go back to, I want to talk about inspiration, John, first of all. How did you get inspired to be a comedian? Who and what inspired you to be a comedian, first and foremost?
That's actually funny, because I used to say jokingly, but there's truth in most jokes, that those of us doing comedy who couldn't box, run fast, or sing, you know, we're the guys who, if we could do something else, we wouldn't be doing this. Don't get me wrong, we love it because we're the guys and girls at schools. Well, all of us at school, you know, the usual thing. There's banter, and some of us are better at it than others, but you still have to be a bit weird to think, well, I can go onto a stage in front of people who have no idea who I am and try and make them laugh and so on. Wow. There's got to be a jump, and I think my thing came through sound system, which is ironic because those are the days when you had one turntable before the two turntable era. So the mic man had more time between tunes. You could build a personality and build a little bit of a rep, as well as hopefully being able to spit some lyrics. Obviously, you could you were the personality of the sound, as well as the selector, who whatever style he or she chose. Your voice was that. So that was my start. And then years later, I realised that a number of people in the UK game, from Slim to Kwaku, Wayne Wallings, had all come through sound systems. So sound system. And if you think about everybody from Soul to Soul to Trevor Nelson, sound system certainly in the 70s and 80s was a creative background, because obviously there was no obvious way to get out there if you weren't a singer, and often even if you were a singer, Maxi Priest, Peter Spencer, all these guys, etc., came through sound system, the male singers anyway. So the sound system was your way forward. But when I then became working in the arts, how I got started with organising things is often the case. It's just, I saw there was Birmingham Comedy Festival going to be happening way back in 1992, and I approached them to say, I've seen the pre-adverts about your event. It would be great to do a really big black show at the Alexander Theatre as part of your events. And I always said these guys gave me a real push in the right direction, because they said, oh, no, that wouldn't work. And I've got so much respect for them, because until that moment, if you think about it, I was working in marketing. I was an Arts Council trained marketeer, so I only marketed shows for other people. But until that moment, it hadn't occurred to me to put on my own show, because my job was marketing for other people and performing. But that's the light bulb moment when you're thinking, because you've written this down, you've written out your proposal, and when they said no, you look at it, no, this is a good idea, this will still work. So I hired the Alexander Theatre, which, since 1992, was quite a pricey thing to do, but I think the arts was in quite a good situation at the time. But it's just believing. It wasn't like, I'm going to show you. It's like, that's a good idea, I'll do it myself.
Yeah, right.
And, it worked.
Yeah.
And the thing is, many people know when it's your own money, you're risking, where every penny's gone. So we sold 996 tickets.
Wow.
I would say, 800 of them in the last 10 days. That's after 3 months. So, your black audience will see the flyer, hear the advert, see the flyer, hear the advert, blah, 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 blah. And then it's like somebody blows a whistle, because it's like, with 2 weeks ago, we've done about 200. I know the Alexandra holds 1,400 or just under. So I remember thinking this could be quite embarrassing, you know, not so much a financial thing, but you know, you want the place. But and then it's like,
that was more important, wasn't it?
yeah, it looks good and it's full. And then it's like somebody blows a whistle, okay, now we'll buy our tickets, because the last 10 days or so, it just went like that.
Yeah,
Sell. But I think, hang on, you guys knew about the show for 3 months.
Do you think maybe at the time, the reason why it probably took so long was because it was a brand new thing for people? And it was a shock to their system as well.
Some of that is true.
Is this really happening?
And also,
is it really happening in the theatre?
Your friends are saying, oh, well, everyone is going. I might as well get my tickets. My crew's going. My family is going. Family and friends are going. Oh, it's a bank holiday Sunday. So, I mean, it's changed to a degree now. You can sell tickets more in advance. But I think that's where you used to have things like making which people still do, making the advance price ticket lower than the actual price to try and get people to decide. Because sometimes someone knows they're going. They might see it in April and think, oh, that's in October, I'm going to that.
Yeah.
But they're booking their ticket in September. Or as a showman at the moment, which is ending its tour, it's called Rush, it's a Windrush musical, which is doing really well everywhere.
Yeah.
And
wow.
That ends the 21 tour in Wolverhampton, the Grand Theatre. And that's already sold out to the bottom and middle section, and there's just a handful of nosebleed seats where you're looking down on tops of our heads. But I bet some of the people are still going to try and book the last minute. What do you mean it's sell out? Because other people booked before. No. And I don't know if it's a black thing. Other cultures might be able to say have the same experience. But you'll have friends ringing you up and cursing you like, "What do you mean it's sell out?" Well, that's what box office have told you. That's what am I supposed to do? It's almost like what's his name? Only Fools Are Horses, Del Boy. Like you're gonna open your jacket and you got a row of tickets which you've held back. And also, we're not selling the tickets. The theatre's selling the tickets. You know what I mean? So, anyways,
it's like well, yeah, of course. But you know what? This. I need to talk about theatre a lot. I mean, I see you got a lot of press attention. You got a lot of press attention for putting black people on the map in theatre, because basically you had a frustration, didn't you, of seeing that black comedians was just in pubs. And
a smaller place. I mean, a lot of our white counterparts were in pubs.
Yeah.
Above pubs, in the function rooms and so on. And as is the case with any new comedian at the time, you have to ring up and they'll say, oh, yeah, ring us in 3 months or whatever it is. And you're to get into comedy, you do an open mic, you know. Like, to a degree, like with singing. But with singing, you've either got a voice or you haven't got a voice. With comedy, you've got to learn on the job. There's no other way about it. Because if you can sing, you can make your voice a bit better, but you've already got the voice. With comedy, you've got to get on stage and learn how to work crowds and all that sort of stuff. So it was about just taking a bit of control of your own destiny. It's nice to be able to ring up somebody and they'll take you on, but why wait for that? There's just that sense of, why am I waiting for him?
Yeah.
Who's running thinks he's running his little empire above a pub room and so on going on. Like, I'll ring back in 3 months. Well, why? To play your pub.
You took it to another. You took it to another level. Way before social media. You've done theatre tours. Yeah. Everything's been grand. You know, I'm talking about like London, Birmingham, Manchester, all over the country.
Literally every city. Every metropolitan city where there's like.
And basically, you are the only one that had it in your hands. This theatre, black comedy theatre tour. It was only you doing it.
Yeah, it's not.
Putting London on the map in Birmingham, if that makes sense.
Or vice versa, or whatever.
Yeah, it's like you was bringing them here.
I think
it's quite a unique thing.
I think because at this. To a large extent, even today, there's not many comedians who don't live in London or aren't from London. There's just a handful, and in their days, it was just me. You know, everyone else was from London, or if they weren't, in the case of someone like Roger D, who's from Manchester, they lived in London. Yeah. So, of course, I just think it's having that perspective, the national perspective, because I was already on the road with theatre shows, thinking, well, this works down in London, and of course, I was going down to London to try and get shows and get onto bills. But I know Bristol will want it, you know, Manchester, Leeds, Nottingham, Derby, Liverpool, Coventry, you name it, all these places, they want it. So one by one, you set up clubs over there. But because I wasn't from London, maybe I have the national perspective, whereas the Londoners would have the north, south, east and west. Because lots going on in London, but not that much going outside. And when I say lots, not as much. But what I do have to say is, having that national perspective, even though I'm from Birmingham, my first monthly club was in Sheffield, of all places, not Birmingham, because they offered first. Mm-hmm. So I started out in Birmingham and I was doing shows for other people. Mm-hmm. But the first deal I made was at the Crucible, which is known for the World Snooker Championships. That was a monthly club from there, and then a venue in West London, Yara Santua, got in touch and we started there. And then, you know, you're old when you're meeting people like Doc Brown, the rapper, comedian, actor. Yeah. And he's saying the first comedy club he went to as a teenager was Up Front, because he's from West London. Wow. You know what I mean? And then even, what's his name? Akala, the rapper one. He says as a youngster, because him and Miss Dynamite, his sisters, their godfather is Offerman, who is still the techie to this day at Hackney Empire. So he says, as youngsters, I think they're from that side. I think from East. I think they're from East London.
Yeah.
They're enduring it. But I'm saying you're meeting these people you've got so much time and respect and admiration for. They're going, oh, I used to watch you when I was at school. Hey,
Yeah.
who was in the audience with our godfather?
Me too, John. You know what? I'm gonna take you back. I remember me being aspiring young singer at 14 years old, and you put me on Upfront Comedy tour. I'm thinking I've got a single out. I thank you for giving me that chance.
But you have to put yourself forward in the first place. You know, no one's going to
Yeah.
say, well, you know, I think I got.
So I remember you putting me. I was devastated, but it was a fantastic experience. You put me in London, you put me in Birmingham, and I'm like, wow. So yes, Upfront Comedy was my first show that I've been to. I performed at my first Upfront Comedy experience, and thank you for that, John.
That's quite alright. The thing is, a lot of us come from, like I said before, from sound systems. So when you start to organise music, obviously your passion, comedy, your passion is still music. So you're thinking, well, we'd have guests. We've got guests, but I mean, God, the amount of people who've appeared on our stages in the musicals, from Omar to Kelly the Rock,
Yeah.
to the list is just a bit Roachford.
Wow, Roachford.
All of these people have been guests. I'm losing track. Top Cat the MC.
Wow.
It goes on UK Apache. If I think more, there'll be a lot. But all these people have been guests on our comedy nights as well,
Yeah.
etc. And obviously, most of them after they were known. It's not like they're unknown. But if you talk about the then unknown comedians who slept on my sofa over the years when I was in Handsworth, and then lastly where I am now in North Birmingham, JB Smooth just won an Emmy, so I messaged him the other day. It was in the Spider-Man movie, and so my oldest daughter remembers stepping over him, sleeping on my sofa.
That is crazy.
Patrice O'Neill, who I just
Wow.
he's, you know what's weird about that? He passed away a few years ago, but he's considered a comedy legend. I think I used to bring him to Birmingham, to UK, and he'd be based in Birmingham. And I was walking from my daughter's house before lockdown, and you know, everyone's got their smart TVs. And I looked in someone's window while walking past, and I saw Patrice on the screen, and I knew what the program was because it was paused. It was the Def Comedy Jam 25-year special, and someone was obviously watching it, which is then a new program on Netflix, I think 2019. And I thought, how weird is that? I didn't stop, but I thought I could knock this person's door and say, you know, that comedian
Wow.
who's on your screen, or you through. He used to stay 10 minutes up the road many times over the years. I'll be getting on the local train from North Birmingham, from Erdington, to go into town to get his train around the country, etc., etc. So a lot of these people, they've reached X amount of status. These are your mates and so on. You can remember the funny things and the annoying things about being on the road with them. They're still, you know, they're human. So when you see, I mean, sadly he passed away early,
Yeah.
but I was just looking at the current, people are talking about the Dave Chappelle special at the moment, and I just saw somebody do a thing where they said, oh, I prefer Patrice O'Neill or Big Bill Burr. Just before I was waiting to come in, I thought, there's Patrice again. I think, oh, him, who used to eat me out of house and home.
Wow.
So with Bridget and so on. But obviously, there was a weird thing about that, because I remember starting to go to New York. Start again. My father spent his last 20 years in New York of his life, so I got my green card in '83. So I was always going to New York anyway. So this was before comedy. I spent part of every summer with my parents. But once I started to do comedy, and once I started to bring comedians over, the story behind that is basically in '93 at the Edinburgh Festival, which is every year. It's a big workshop for comedy. It's a big showcase. There was 2 black shows that year. There was one called Stand Up Black America, which featured 3 comedians, one of whom became a good friend to this day, Ian Edwards. And there's another show called The Adventures of Trick Whitey Man, which was like a superhero, a black superhero, by a 19-year-old comedian called Dave Chappelle. So that year there was only 2 black shows. Of course, they were surprised to see any black people, because we come up from Birmingham to check out Edinburgh Festival, and there's 2 black shows. So of course they were glad to see us. We ate food and all that sort of stuff, hung out for a little bit and so on. But then Ian Edwards from the other show said, we'd like to come over. This is August '93, only a year after I'd started organising shows, and by March '93, just 6 months later, I'd organised my first tour. You don't realise what, at the time, is when you look back, because I had all these, and they slept on my sofa in my flat in Handsworth, etc. Went took them off the plane in London, met them off the plane, Junior Simpson, comedian who's still around.
Yeah.
He drove us to the airport. Remember, I'd met Ian, but I didn't know Will Sylvins, who's still around, and talent. Met them off the plane, they did the first tour, and it grew from there. And then some of the people I was bringing over, I mentioned your JB Smooths and other people, but also
the Jeannie Asherays and
Gina went the other way. Exactly, produced her first tour. But what I'm saying, I suppose, is that for all the stuff which went well, there's the little things where you're thinking, you could have done that better. Like an example, Mike Epps, who's obviously a very well-known comedian, I had him booked to come over, and then another comedian who's very well-known, who I won't mention, Russell Peters, said to me something along the lines.
But you know what though? It's about John Simmit, man. What you have done, bro.
No, my point is what I'm saying about I didn't always get it right. Because I counselled Mike Epps. It's like, oh, I said, because you always have people around your family. They're like, you want people to, and he hadn't done anything wrong with that. I said, oh, maybe another time. And 6 months later, he was in the sequel to Friday.
Oh my god! But at least you got this.
That's what we are. But it just made me laugh. You have to laugh at this, thinking this. So it's never sitting around going like, I thought of all this and I knew. All I'm thinking, how many mistakes I've made along the line and continue to make less than things you get right. But don't go out there going on like, you know what I mean?
Mike Epps.
Did I just cancel him and now he's starting? Oh, he's in another movie. Oh, he's in another movie. Yeah. And the logic had been when he was in the New York comedy clubs in the mid-90s, saying, some of these people are going to be very big over the years. You don't know who, but let's build some relationships in terms of regular work. And as they grow, you've had that 10, 15, literally 20-year relationship in some cases and so on. But I was saying, you don't always get it right. It's like betting on horses.
But you've got a lot of things right though, mate. And I'm telling you, and John Simmit, man, 29 years in the business, being the pioneer of black comedy in theatre.
Other people say that, so that's good. Now I'm saying it's always good when newspapers, other people say that, rather than you say it yourself, because some people going, maybe.
But
I'll point to what other people say rather than what I'm saying.
Got to big up upfront comedy, the longest it's the longest standing
platform
out there from Birmingham. That's made an international name.
Yeah, national, international, and continue to do so. And so even stuff like at the moment, I'm having a blast because I'm in a musical. I'm thinking, hang on, I can't sing. Unlike you, I can't sing. So and again, they'd asked me to do some work helping them produce it and get into more theatres. Then the producer, Owen Miller, says, do you want to be in it? I'm like, hey. Because I hadn't seen this at the time. I'm like, no, okay, I'll sing like a fool of myself. He says, no, we need a narrator. Which, of course, is a bit like comparing a comedy. I said, oh, yeah. And then there wasn't much of a script. There was ideas of great songs and a great band. So you end up writing a lot of the narration yourself. So it's like, sometimes you don't see these things coming and, a lot of next year is already taken care of, because the show is ongoing. So we end in November 16th at the Grand in Wolverhampton. We start again in February, 2 nights at Liverpool Playhouse, 3 nights at Birmingham Rep, so it's coming local again.
Wow.
And it goes on, so it's nice to think, most of next year, not every date is gone, but most of next year, and that's nice because I'm not producing that one. It's nice to be able to turn up when you need me there. Because you'll know as an organiser, when you're organising things, you can't just think about, right, I'm Mark Dwayne, I'm on the bill as a singer in this case. I've got 3 songs to sing, whatever, this slot.
Yeah.
You're on the phone to everyone, what time are you getting? If it's all pros, it's good, but so-and-so's late, this, that, and the other, this hasn't arrived, so-and-so's arrived with the music in the wrong format, because you know that it's on CD, I haven't got a CD player, or it's on DAT, or all the sorts of technical, all that sort. I've had that, all these things from experience over the years. You have to send somebody out, that's somebody out, obviously, you ask people to be a couple of hours from the show, so you can sort all that stuff out. With Rush, I turn up and I perform, you know what I mean? So I haven't got to worry about everybody else getting there, I just have to get myself there on time. So it's nice to do it both ways.
I've got to rewind back to when the fact that you're about putting people on the map. Even though you use your platform to help people, and I've got to put myself in there. You help me, and that's why when you put me on stage at 14, and then when I got into the position where I could, when I had the magazine at 17, well, I started the magazine at 17. Was it 17? I started it. Yeah, it was 17. You was my first interview in the Street Cred magazine.
I do remember
in the first edition.
Right.
And do you know that this is 25 years later since that?
So then, yeah, still there.
So that's what it's about.
You get it's a Tyson Fury thing. You're going to get knocked down. All of us going to get knocked down. What was that song always? I get knocked down. That was... I just did a thing recently for Channel 5. It was, the big songs of the 90s. Lots of talking heads and all these tunes come up from the 90s. It was Mark Morrison, it was TLC, it was blah, blah, blah. And I used to say, well, that was my favourite tunes because you never heard anything like it. It's like a football chant and I think, huh? It doesn't fit into a genre, but it's joyous, isn't it? And it's so stupid as well. Oh, get knocked down! I think Todger the comedian does that. But I remember being in Miami in 98, the year after that hit the charts. and the local theatre, what they call Chumbawamba, did that tune.
Right.
It's nice to see a British band, you know, you're walking around and on the marquee was their name. I'm like, what?
Wow.
Band from Sheffield.
In
they're from
Miami.
Sheffield. And obviously that become an international hit, probably their only big hit, but that tune took them all over the place. But it's a good motto, isn't it? I get knocked down. We all get knocked down from time to time, but hopefully we get up again.
that was a shock, but what was a shock, John, as well, that shocked us was, wow, that's John Simmit in a Teletubbies outfit.
Outfits.
Jesus Christ! Listen,
Outfits. I like
that. Come on, man. I've never seen anything like that. You know, when some people there's people that follow trends and there's people that set them. You've set the standard. You know, no one's ever done that.
I'm thinking how much credit I can claim credit for Deep Sea because that was me, my moves and my voice.
You're an amazing stuntman as well, aren't you?
Yeah, well, not for hire. Anybody else will take their. I'll take my own lumps, put it that way. But yeah, the thing is, you can't plan some of this stuff because my point being, a lot of the crew who worked on Teletubbies, if I remember right, they'd come off a thing called El Dorado, which I don't know if you remember, was a British soap opera, which had cost a lot of money because it was set and filmed in Spain. So that's a whole another level of investment. I think it was BBC because you've got to buy the land, build the sets, get everybody out there, and then film the thing in Spain. But my point being about that one is that a number of the crew who were on Teletubbies had come off that because that show didn't work. So I think after about 6 or 9 months, they decided to cut their losses, having spent a fortune setting it up and what have you. I remember thinking to myself, as a performer, if you'd been offered a choice of El Dorado or Teletubbies, anyone with a brain would have taken El Dorado because come on, man, it's a soap.
Yeah.
It's just launching, so there's a lot of money being put, and it's abroad, so you'll be filming in Spain in the sunshine, and obviously the powers that be put next on the line, they really want this to work. Whereas this is a preschool children's show, you'll be in a fursuit. Not disparaging, you're thinking, you're thinking that's not going to go anywhere, or it might be popular with the children, and you're not going to be known. Nobody knew that. I can't speak for El Dorado, but for whatever reason, it never took off. But you know, this children's show became an international phenomenon. I mean, is it 123 countries and counting?
Wow.
And I remember how it worked. I was the first person cast, and at the time, it didn't even have a commission. So it was Ragdoll Productions who made the show, one of 3 companies pitching to get this slot. I think something called Playbus was being discontinued, and they were obviously the BBC had said, "All right, guys, you production company, what have you got?" So when I went for an audition, it was something called Teleteddies. So it turned out that name later on had been registered by somebody else. Right. So that's how long down the road it was. They didn't even have a name. They had a fake concept. And even then we tried to explain it to people, I'm like, that sounds weird. If I was to say to you, I'm in this new show and we're like space-age toddlers with televisions in our screens. We don't say too much and we run around.
That's bizarre, man.
And the thing is, after months, once they got the commission and they said, we're going to cast the others and you're going to start rehearsals in London, that was in the start of 1996, and then after months in London of rehearsals, you're going to move up to Stratford-on-Avon, a bit closer to here, to start filming the show. I remember doing the first sketch, and it's like being in a post box, because you're looking through the most, so there's no peripheral vision, you've got an earpiece to help you along, blah, 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 blah. But I remember filming that sketch, and it also, I'm thinking, this is really strange. Even though I've been working for you're in it, and you're thinking, this is really out there. I remember thinking to myself, it's either going to,
And then you put the yardie twist to it and do the ball, got the whole nation doing the ball. You introduce, listen, let's talk about the things you've done right, bro. Listen, you have influenced,
but you
and
you can only be what
you brought the Jamaican twang into the young,
because there's that true
TV.
You might even want to put it on later on in the edit. There was the tune. Is it The Whip by the Ethiopians? It's just a reggae rhythm track. Boom, boom, boom. Many MCs have wrote that. It's been adapted. Blah 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 blah. I think it's The Whip if I remember rightly. But that's just what Dipsy's saying as he's walking along. Yeah. So if you talk about culture, it's like Dipsy's riding that rhythm. Yeah. For me, as a whole sound system MC, you can only bring your culture with you. You know what I mean? Jamaican Brummy.
So when you done that, when you brought that idea to the table, bringing the Jamaican patois into the character, was there any hesitation from the production crew, or did they just say, go with it?
To be fair, the producer, I remember, she came up with this weird international sort. She's a creative visionary, and Anne Wood and Andy Davenport. They're out there themselves. Because when they explain to us, we're like, eh? Yeah. All right then, yeah, we'll give it a go, but what? But so remember, it's 2 white cast members, 1 black and 1 Chinese. And they were asking, like, Poi Poi Fan Lee, the actress who played Poe, she's also putting her culture in there. It's fat it. I can't remember what that means, but that's actually words from that culture. And you think it went around the world, that's part of it. So children across the world are hearing their own voices and stuff reflected. And if you think about it, but certainly with Poi's heritage of Chinese, there's more of them than anybody else in the world. So somebody was thinking this thing through in terms of let's touch all corners and children come in all shapes and sizes as they know. So they're just trying to ragdoll in all their shows. I've tried to reflect that. So yes, I take credit.
Should
For my own contribution, but it was encouraged by the producers who had vision.
Yeah, but you did it, man. And you know, I mean, that's the first time I've ever seen any Jamaican vibe in a kids television show.
Right.
And since then, we've had what's the Rasta Mouse?
Rasta Mouse, etc.
That wouldn't have happened if they didn't think it could work from
Fair
seeing
comment,
Dipsy in Teletubbies. Do you see where I'm coming from?
Mm-hmm.
So you've set a trend here, bro.
You can only do what you can do, because put it this way, I'm not David Harewood or one of these great actors, because I'm a stand-up and a DJ. You know what I mean? Some guys like David Harewood, these are actors with range. You know what I mean? Who can give you the dramatic, and Eddie Nesta can give you a lot of my friends are really good actors and so on. I'm aware of my strengths and limitation. I can't do Shakespeare and all that thing. No, nothing's wrong with that. Doesn't mean but I know this is what I can do. And it's like you've only got the tools you can bring to this table. You know what I mean?
Thank you, sound system, man. Thank you, sound system.
Think of how many of us got performing experience from that. Because obviously, if somebody puts a mic in your hand to do stand-up, we will say it's one of the great jobs, like anything else. If you sing and they respond well, if you sung well and they've gone for it, greatest feeling in the world. If you haven't sung well or you've just not connected, same with comedy. Some nights you go out there and you're the king. Other nights, the only laugh you can hear from the other comedians backstage behind you, because they know these are the jokes which normally tear down the place. Or get it, and they're laughing because they're probably about to come out and have a bad time too. But I'm saying it is very much like bare knuckle. It's you on microphone in a crowd. Wow. You know what I mean? So it's a scary thing, particularly for the newest comedians, but at least a number of us of my generation, before we'd ever gone on a stand-up stage, we'd been on the mic for years on sound systems.
Look at what's come out of sound system. John Simmit, upfront comedy, international, going into bloody Teletubbies now.
All over, and learning to promote.
Jazzy B, Soul to Soul. Yeah, it's true. You're right when you mention Trevor Nelson, Jazzy B. Sound system's really important. And
them will chew your ears off about their sound system.
It's a serious topic, isn't it? Mm-hmm. It's done a lot for the country. How did you take being called Dipsy instead of John? So, because a lot of people started to call you like that. Did it ever get to you, or did you?
Nah, you know what? As long as Dipsy's paying money, I call.
That's what I was waiting for. Yeah, you call me Dipsy. I'm getting paid for being Dipsy.
Yeah, exactly. I call Dipsy my furry godfather, which is what it is. It's the gift that keeps on giving, so you know what I mean. So if people want to call me that, feel free. You know what I mean. I can live with it. It's a successful project. So what?
Legendary comedian, stuntman. You're stuntman. Man, tell me some of the
I was covered in fur, freestone fur, and very well padded. So in fact, there's a stand-up routine I used to do. About nearly getting into a fight. We're doing a photo session in Paris on the street. So some guy just walking. It was just usually you're just walking past Manny's home. Decides to slap it, and I slapped him back. It's a long story, but I'm in a Teletubby suit, so my logic was, there's no way you win this fight. You might think, you know what I mean? You might just be walking down the road with your brethren, and you see, I tell you, you're slapping, and when the Teletubby slaps you back, your brethren backing off. So what are you gonna do now? Because brethren, I'm covered in fur.
Don't rap with Dipsy.
Take your best shot between the legs, and I can take that. But my shot is gonna do you. And people are watching, and you're with your boys on a Parisian street. My money's on the Teletubby. That's one of the most bizarre things I remember thinking. Because he didn't mean it. He probably just showing off while I was walking by. But we're from Birmingham. You don't put your hands on my clothes. That's why I like. What? And I'm in the suit.
Oh, legendary, man. Big up to John Simmit for presenting the first ever Street Cred magazine awards in 1999. Also at the Grand Hotel, and the Street Cred second anniversary awards at the Hyatt Hotel. John Simmit's a legend, man.
You remember more than I do.
I know, I just want to remind you. 29 years of putting bombs on seats. John Simmit, Street Cred 25.
Never forget your roots and where you come from. Let me take Take you to an estate where a community lies. Craig stacking paper while Joe's still flipping fries. Sophie chills on the street while Lucy likes to revise. They have a different form of passion in their council estate eyes. Each one focused on a goal and a dream.
Street Cred magazine celebrating 25 years as the #1 media platform from Birmingham, internationally known. Here we have a special guest that has made an impact in our community. The guy has been getting out there with his charity, CIC, shouting brothers against racism. Brothers against racism. Here he is, branded, fully branded. The bar, the guy's trendy. He's out here, he's got his snapback.
Nice to meet you, bro.
He's got his
Nice
hoodie,
to meet you, bro.
he's ready. Listen, he's genuine. It's Matty, Allcock of the Brothers Against Racism. How you doing, man?
I'm alright, man. I'm good.
That's
I'm
good.
feeling good.
It's good to see you, man.
Yeah, very good, man.
I want you to tell us about the manifesto. Brothers Against Racism, it's a strong title. You know, it's like, you kind of know what it is straight away. It's like, it's that name that just says it all. Brothers Against Racism. Who wouldn't want to be a part of that if you're positive?
Exactly. Everybody wants to be part of it.
Yeah. Tell us
Yeah.
about the adventures of Brothers Against Racism. And
Well,
what
basically-
tell us the manifesto.
How it came about is my friend Aaron J. Renford Brooks, we discovered that we both had the same birthday on the same day.
Right.
So that's basically how it all started. And we had an idea. And it's just basically gone from an idea to a trademark brand,
Right.
and now a CIC, which is a limited company, which is non-profit making.
Right.
So basically, it's two brothers, 22 years apart with our birthdays. Aaron's black, I'm white. And it just came from an idea. It was either going to be Stamp Out Racism or Brothers Against Racism. So we thought, Brothers
Yeah.
Against Racism. It just fell into place just like that.
Let's talk a little bit about the history. I mean, when I say history, I mean there's a deeper thing connected to you why you're doing Brothers Against Racism. There's a real reason why you're doing it. Tell us why.
The reason being, I was brought up with a family. I've got a racist family.
Right.
So straight away, I've been around it all my life.
Right.
So when I've come into the black community and Asian communities, I'm seeing all this racism. I'm seeing it online. As I've got more and more into the communities, I'm seeing more and more of it because of my experiences when I was young,
Right.
with my family and my aunties and uncles which are racist. So obviously I've actually wanted to come and do something. So obviously I met Aaron and we had this idea and we just followed it on from there, really.
Brilliant. I mean, I tell you something, you're a great guy, Matty, man. I mean, everyone in the black community loves you. You're always supporting black businesses, anything that you support everything, really, but let's talk about the black businesses. You do actually go into our community and help out, you know what I mean? You show your support, you know, and it's genuine. It's not like I'm doing a campaign where I'm just supporting everybody. You actually love black social enterprises.
Absolutely.
And things that we do, man.
Absolutely. As I say, I've got more and more involved in it over the years. And I just love the black culture, I love the Asian culture, I love all the different cultures.
Yeah.
That's why I started to come up to Birmingham, and obviously I've started to make friends with various different people.
Yeah.
And it's just spiralled more and more over a period of the last few years, really.
So the organisations, there's a lot of it's quite a broad project, isn't it?
It is, absolutely.
It's there's many arms to it. Let's talk about a few arms. What exactly? Tell us one of the main things that you wish to do with the company CIC.
There's lots of things, really. We've got an old massive manifesto is what we're going to be doing. Want to be working with children in youth centres, schools, colleges. Also want to be supporting multicultural businesses. As you see on Facebook, I'm always sharing posts, business posts all the time. Mm-hmm. So obviously that's a passion of mine. Want to be interviewing and filming businesses, and obviously we want to be putting them out on our social media platforms and website. We're on all social media platforms. We've now got our website. So we want to promote multicultural businesses on there as well.
Brilliant.
And put everything on there that we're actually going to be doing.
So going into, when you mentioned working with young people in schools, what's the aim there? What is it you're looking to show them?
What I want to do is we want to be putting on events. So we want to get children interacting, team building, and collaborating with each other. So basically...
Like different races?
Exactly,
Right.
exactly. So we want to make it fun, but educational as well.
Right.
So we want to get everybody, all cultures, interacting with each other.
Right.
So we've got a... We've already got an event. That'll be our very, very first event.
Yeah. So I mean, I remember speaking to you about this before, where I thought that was a really good idea. The fact that you're going into the schools, and there's one status that you put on your Facebook, and it really stood out. You said that racism is definitely a taught thing, and you want to prove that you could teach kids that being together is the way forward.
Exactly.
That really stood out for me.
I'm all about people anyway, so it's getting all the cultures
You want to
together
teach kids
to show them
that we're together.
Yeah, exactly.
I like that.
It's not just about race; it's about the human race.
Yeah.
That's what it's all about, and this is what we're going to do. So we're going to set out.
It's a
what we
new
wanna
type of
do.
education, really, isn't it? This
Yeah.
Brothers Against Racism movement.
Yeah, it is, and it's very unique because obviously myself and Aaron have our birthdays on the same day.
Yeah.
22 years apart, one black, one white. Nobody else is doing it, so it's very, very unique.
Yeah, definitely.
So we're very passionate about it. So yeah.
So tell us a little bit about Aaron's background. I know you both have a great idea, and you both share the same birthday, but why the collaboration? What are the reasons?
Well, what brought us together was obviously we discovered that we both had our birthday on the same day. Different cultures,
Yeah.
different backgrounds.
Yeah.
So, and I've been a friend of Aaron's for quite a few years anyway,
Yeah.
through you,
Yeah.
as you know. So it just sort of fell into place.
Yeah.
And then we got sick and tired of seeing stuff on social media.
Yeah,
Some of my friends getting racially abused, some of my
Right.
black friends. So we thought we have to do something about this. We just had this idea. It's just gone from an idea, and obviously through lockdown, it's given us the time to promote ourselves hard.
Mm-hmm.
So obviously, from an idea to a trademark brand, now to a CIC, limited company, non-profit making.
brilliant.
And it's basically to help the community.
Simple as that.
It's not just about raising funds as well.
Yeah.
It's about helping the community and bringing everybody together. So that's what we're passionate about.
That seems to be the main thing. Isn't
Yeah,
it?
it's not about raising funds. It's about it's coming into the communities and showing people this is how it should be.
I like how I love it. I love the fact that you're looking to help businesses, and you're looking to teach young kids that being together is the way.
Yeah,
And,
it's like I said. You're absolutely right. There's different arms to it.
Yeah.
There's so many different aspects to it.
Yeah, absolutely. So some of the I noticed that when there's a lot of racist things happening in the world, you post it on your Facebook and you'll make everyone
On our
know.
page, yes.
Yeah. Have you, since you've started the company, have you noticed a lot more has happened that's bad out there, and you've tackled it?
Well, basically, we formed the brand March the 7th, 2020.
Yeah.
And then, of course, after that, we had the George Floyd situation.
Yeah.
Then we had the Black Lives Matters protests. So we started that, and obviously it's got more and more and more. It's always been there, but the last year has been really bad. And then we got the football situation.
That's the portion I get to, really. Yeah.
When we got the football situation, so yeah, it's.
See, it's evident that something like your organisation is needed. But what you've seen throughout this year.
Absolutely. We can't stop it, but what we can do is we can make a difference.
Yeah.
And that's exactly what we're going to do, make a difference in the community.
Yeah.
That's what our plan is.
And just by you and Aaron joining together has made a difference. People seeing, the black guy, the white guy,
Exactly.
shows that two people can work together.
Black and white.
He's young, you're an older guy generation.
Yeah.
It just mixes really well.
Yeah. It just fell into place really well.
Yeah. And you've done you've done events with a Brothers Against Racism event, didn't you? Was it the birthday, you and Aaron?
Oh yeah, that was our that was the actual day that we actually started it.
Yeah.
So we just put it out on Facebook. Had loads of people come and support.
Yeah.
And it's a fantastic night just to show people. So that was basically the that night was the start of it.
Yeah.
So obviously because of lockdown we haven't been able to do a lot, but it's given us time to promote ourselves hard.
So
that's exactly what we've done.
So what's the ultimate aim that you wish to achieve with Brothers Against Racism? What is it what's the goal that you
make a
want to see?
difference and show everybody that it's not about race, it's about the human race. It's as simple as that.
Brilliant. Brothers Against Racism, Matty J. Allcock, thank you very much for being with us.
Brilliant, thank you very much.
Tell us where we can find you on socials and your website address, please.
Facebook, Instagram, Brothers Against Racism, TikTok, Twitter. The website is almost up and running. There's a little bit of tweaking here and there, and it should be up and running in the next month.
As you can see, the Brothers Against Racism bar is very, very, very trendy. You got tell us about this hoodie, man. I mean, this is like I like all the what does that say?
Yeah, Naomi Thomas.
Fist for Justice.
Fist for Justice. Yeah, that was Aaron's idea. That was his idea to put them on the sleeve.
Big up to Aaron, man.
Yeah, big up to Aaron.
I like the fact that it's a trendy. You made the whole. I've never seen an organisation like of your type with a trendy fashion label to it. You know, I like it. I like the whole idea.
I'm looking about putting a logo on the back of the.
That his hat, get the hat going down and all that. Yeah.
And the arm.
Love it. Bar movement, Brothers Against Racism, Matty J. Allcock and Aaron J. Rensford Brooks. I founded this organisation in
7th of March 2020.
CIC organisation, making moves. This is what it's all about. People that genuinely just want to see a difference in the community. No strings attached.
Exactly, no strings attached.
Just about making a difference, man.
Just making a difference.
Brothers Against Racism, big up. It's the Street Cred Magazine 25th anniversary. Don't forget, press like and subscribe. Street Cred.